Okay,
Yay.
we are being recorded and we are set to go. So, welcome everyone. My name is Donny Lovery,
And I'm Kirk Prime.
and we are here to host another episode of Queer Tribes. And today we are delighted to have with us Sunil Babu Pant. Sunil, welcome.
Yes.
And it's especially amazing because Sunil is
Thank you very much.
yeah, we're so delighted to have you, and we're in a special appearance because Kirk and I are in San Francisco, and Sunil is talking to us all the way from Kathmandu, Nepal. So it's 7 o'clock here in the evening, and it's just about as it's 12 hours in the early in the morning in Nepal. Anyway, so it's a special treat to have Sunil here. So before we start, we're going to tell you a little about Sunil. He has a very, very interesting background. He'll tell you more about it, but I'll give you a little background on it. So Sunil is the very first openly gay politician in Nepal. He was a politician there in Nepal. His 2008 election to the national legislature followed years of activism on behalf of the Nepalese GLBT community. Trained as a computer engineer, Sunil received a scholarship to study in Belarus. It was there that he first heard the word homosexual and identified as a gay man. It is also where he was first exposed to entrenched homophobia, inspiring him to fight for equality in his home country. In 2002, Sunil founded the Blue Diamond Society. The group consists of more than 20 organizations and 120,000 members representing the interests of the country's GLBT and HIV/AIDS communities. Leaders and members of the society have continued their advocacy in the face of threats of arrest and violence. In spite of his many accomplishments, Sunil insists that his work is far from complete. Sunil says, with our progress, however, is the awareness that so many more need to be saved. The Blue Diamond Society was party to a 2007 case that led to Nepal's highest court to declare that the GLBT individuals were natural persons who deserve the protection and civil rights. The court also ordered the establishment of a commission to study same-sex marriage, as well as the addition of a third gender option on official government documents. Sunil was elected to Nepal's Constituent Assembly as a member of Nepal's Communist Party United. His legislative goals include equal justice and economic rights. He serves on a committee charged with rewriting Nepal's constitution. In spite of his many accomplishments, Sunil insists that his work is far from complete. He says, with our progress, however, there is awareness so that many more needs need to be served. In 2005, Sunil and the Blue Diamond Society were awarded the Utopia Award, which is Asia's leading GLBT honor. In 2007, the International Gay and Lesbian Human Rights Commission bestowed the group with its Filipa de Souza Award. Wow, and you're only getting started. So let's come back here. Already very impressive. We could read more and more about your
right, but let's hear from the source.
Hear from the source.
Right, right. So again, welcome, Sunil, and we had the good pleasure of meeting Sunil, and when he premiered the film here at Queer Film Festival in San Francisco. So it's a delight to reconnect, even though we're far oceans away from each other, but in heart very connected. So, at any rate. The program, as usual, is simply just asking you, Sunil, just tell us about your spiritual journey, your spiritual awakenings that kind of led you into all of this amazing work that you are and continue to do.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Donny, for giving this elaborated introduction. Thank you, Queer Tribe, for inviting me and giving me opportunity to share from the other side of the world. Two things I want to correct, Donny, when you said The Blue Diamond Society was founded in 2002. It's not 2002, it's 2001. The ground was laid in year 2000. So it's a minor technical
Yeah.
detail. Also, I didn't get a scholarship to go to Belarus. I went on my own. So it was not it was, I know people have this, when Soviet Union was still there, they used to provide a lot of scholarships to the third world countries. But I went there after the Soviet Union collapsed. And the reason I went there, perhaps I was, wanting to get away.
Uh-oh.
It'll come back in a minute. We're got a little stuck there. Sorry, everyone.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we're gonna.
There we go.
Sorry, we froze there for a minute.
Froze for a second. Yeah, there we're back.
Yeah, it's Nepal. We just had this, load shedding. So power cut off. So I'm on data now again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I went there in Belarus. Perhaps I wanted to get away as a growing up. Perhaps I had the question around my sexuality. I didn't know then. I had no, as you said, I heard the word homosexual when I went to Belarus, but it was not part of the communist scholarship that I went there. It was just me because Belarus was cheaper after Soviet Union collapsed. They were the cheapest option for Nepalese, and then very easy to get visa. Whereas the Western countries, it's still difficult to get visa to go for a student. So few people still go there who wants to go and then cannot afford the higher education in India or Europe or America. So that's the reason I went there. My spiritual journey, I don't know when it started. Perhaps the click I see is when I was 6 or 7 years old, growing up in a remote village in Gorkha district, northwest of Kathmandu, hilly region. My father was a school teacher. My mother was a housewife. It's a common family we shared, and then we're not that affluent family, but nevertheless we were okay. There was no starvation in our families, and then we had ancestral some lands and farming. Apart from that, my father also brought a monthly salary as a government school teacher. So we used to being a upper caste family, the Hindu, devout Hindu. My father was. We used to have a lot of visitors of these renunciates, the saints, the sannyasis, the sages. So what I remember, red robes wearing some of the Indian sages were visiting and giving their lecture. Preaching that time, and they were very well respected. And I didn't perhaps understand all the way what they said, but people listened to them. So that was the thing, perhaps a bit of drawing me. How did they get all this knowledge? Where are they coming from, and why they are different? Why they are not householders? So why they talking about the renunciate tradition? So who are they so revered by the upper echelons of the societies as well as the other common folks? These are the questions I had sparked by those visitors back then. And incidentally, couple of them also asked my father whether he would donate his young son, that was me, to go along with them. And I was very drawn into it, but my father denied. So I couldn't get that opportunity. Otherwise, they said, "Oh, he's very suitable for to join our tribe." And then so they asked my father. My father didn't allow because I was the baby, the youngest son. So that perhaps must have been the germ inside me. I must get into this spiritual world. Perhaps not. They were talked about even then. The householder's lifestyle is binding. us into the samsara, the worldly sufferings, and then the path to way to liberation or the ultimate happiness is renunciation. So that was the thing they were talking about. So must have been that. And then they left. So I was growing, going to schools, and then I was a good student. So I was loved by my parents and by others alike. But I started studying the philosophies, mostly the Indian subcontinent philosophies, early age when I was 13, 14, perhaps. The epic Mahabharata and Ramayana, which is still popular in India and Nepal. I read because my father loved to read the philosophies. So, and then a bit of serious ones after I grew up. I came to Kathmandu first time after I finished my school education, joining the college. Was a bit, culture shock because Kathmandu was not that big, but coming from the village was something huge. I finished my college, and then there was also the political, revolution was happening. We used to have absolute monarchy back then. Then students and others wanted to change to become a multi-party democracy, have a parliamentary system. So I somehow joined that movement as well. And then the parliament was, system, the multi-party parliamentary system was introduced. The absolute monarchy was reduced to a ceremonial monarchy back then. But then the continuation of political instability, meaning we lost 1 year after I finished 2 years college here. The upper higher education was a bit difficult. The exams were getting delayed, so that's where I decided to go somewhere out, and then Belarus was the option for me. So going back to Belarus was slightly cheaper, and then. So I joined the computer science because it was a new thing. I didn't realize how the such a course was in the wrong country. They had some computer science course, but was much older Soviet style, and then they were not very good at updating their the computer courses, especially the software science ones. So I end up doing this very old Soviet style computer science course. But then that's where all these, homosexual words, and then how the homosexuality was problematic. I used to hear and then see the police cracking down the underground gay scene in Belarus, and parks and toilets and other things. If foreigners were involved, they were immediately deported. So I had no options to explore, rather, hiding it within myself. So I buried within myself my whole sexual identity, and instead started engaging on other projects like student exchange, environment protection, helping the other students that are from other countries as well, if they have other issues. So that's how I difficult, but I completed the master degree in computer science. But while studying there, the Belarus was kind of a new independent member, still close to Russia, but they had their own status as an independent country. And then few bigger countries just started opening the embassies, and India was opening its embassy. So they invited, Indians and Nepalese as well, students on their yearly functions or something. So that's where I had the access to the library they, recently installed in Minsk within the Indian Embassy, and was a great resources to quench my thirst of the studying more deeper philosophies. And then so I started studying Buddhism, Jainism, and so many other Indian subcontinents. The primarily 9 or 10 different philosophies. Some are, atheists. Some are believers. Some believes on Atma, the soul, and the God. Some do not. Some believes in karma. Some other theories do not. The Charvaka theory is like a communist theories, believing in only one life. There is no soul. There is no God. This is only one life. So all this, different views of philosophies enriched my, thirst for studying more philosophies, but it also brought a lot of questions. Who I am, who am I? Whether there's a God exist or not. Is this the only life, or there's a previous life and afterlives? What is this? The Buddhist and Jain talk about bondage to the samsara, the worldly sufferings, and then what they really meant when they said it's a complete liberation from this suffering. So all these questions arise, but there was no tradition to actually practice it, just through books. I know, I was doing a bit of yoga and pranayama for help.
Looks like we've frozen again. I think we'll just wait for a moment. Hopefully it'll unfreeze.
And my brother was studying there, so I decided to stay back in Japan. And after 2 weeks finished, I thought I would stay and make some, do some part-time job so that I can make some pocket money, but also because all these 5-6 years, I never returned to Nepal. So I should get some gifts to my parents and others. So I was looking for a job and I didn't know Japanese. So I was looking for some kind of Indian restaurant who would hire me as a whatever, job I could get that they have. So walking through these busy Tokyo's Shinjuku area, the central part, and then, passing through, asking wherever they are, if they have any jobs. And usually the Japanese would not even talk with the strangers. But I found few Indian restaurants. They said, yeah, come back tomorrow or others. They suggested, pointed the other ones they don't have any vacancy. You can try the other ones, etc. So I was keep walking to those gullies. And then I saw a couple of bookshops, and then book usually draws me in. So I saw a bookshop, I went in, and then I pick up some books, and it's semi-nude, mostly male. And then there's the calendars with the man's having no upper clothes, just in underwear, all these things. I keep another books. It's like that. And then I realized somehow maybe it's a different bookshop. I looked around. I felt like everybody watching me, so I got scared and then ran away. But that kind of was very difficult to sleep in the night. So I keep thinking about this place, what it is, what kind of books is it, and who are those people. So I went back next day and had the courage to talk to the shopkeeper. And he said, oh, this is a gay bookstore in Tokyo. And then this is the gay neighborhood. And he said, this is, Nichome area, which is a gay, a kind of gay neighborhood. The other side of the street is a Sanchome area, which is for a red light street for straight people. So I realized, oh my God, this is such a evolved country and society already. I thought Japanese was more conservative, but they had this open. So he then referred to other books to read, and then so I started reading sexuality, philosophy, the Stonewall kind of revolution in the U.S. and how North America and Europe was liberalizing. Then South Africa's recent constitutional change accepting LGBT kind of thing. The revolution in Latin America was emerging. All these things, and then how older Chinese society, Japanese society treated LGBTI or queer people, how the Hinduism have very elaborated and then liberal perhaps ideas towards queer people. All this, knowledge was enriching. I keep going back to the shopkeeper, gave up looking for the part-time jobs or any jobs I could get, and made few friends. And then I see some of the U.S. Marines were also coming to those areas from there, whatever barracks they have or stations they had. Other foreigners were coming. Some Japanese who spoke English also. So I made a great deal of friendship and also the knowledge enhancing. So after this knowledge, I had the confidence that I have no problem being who I am. The society has a problem towards
Mm,
sexuality. So that was the
mm,
conclusion of it. So after just before 3 months, I came back to Nepal, and then it's still unknown what to do. There was not much computer job in Nepal back then, and also knowledge. So I decided to go for the study, and then I went to Hong Kong. Uh, you know, got a scholarship then in Hong Kong Science and Technology University, enrolled in the MPhil program. Stayed there, survived for 6 months, one semester. Then I decided to quit because I didn't like first the very. I wouldn't call them racist, but it's very hierarchical society. And then those Hong Kong who are uh, Chinese who are from Hong Kong, Mandarin, they even treating less to the mainland Chinese back then, because China perhaps was much poorer than Hong Kong back then.
mm,
It was
mm,
like 22 years ago from now.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and then I was the only foreigner, but also a different race. Rest of the world were Hong Kong Chinese in my classroom. And it's supposed to be done in English, but they switch. Most of the lecture were switched, and the conversation between teacher and student switched to Mandarin. So I, lost half of those conversations and the lectures. It was very difficult.
mm, mm,
So most of the time, hardly one or two people spoke to me. The rest
mm,
were just, I felt like I was a bit ignored. And
mm.
also dealing with, and then there's a smaller gay neighborhood in Hong Kong I discovered. But what I see is a bit uh, frustrating. Most of the relationship were one night stand, quick up, and then there's no relationship. I see
Mhm,
alcohol, drugs, etc. coming in.
mhm.
Perhaps I didn't know deep enough. I didn't know many people who were living good gay life, but that's what I saw into the gay scene.
Sure.
Drugs, smoke, and alcohol, one night stand. And this, it's a very superficial view I have. What's very disappointing is this the life
Uh-huh.
that gay people live? So that is the question. So all this mixed up, I decided to quit and then came back to Nepal. My parents were not very happy that I gave up such a good scholarship. So I went down to India where the super cyclone 1999 was hitting and killing 10,000 people back then. So I decided to go and help them. So spend
Mm,
almost a year in India helping people with the cyclone relief project. And then that's where I also encountered a bit more, into meditation with Buddhism and Jainism. So started doing meditation back then from India, then come back to Nepal, going back to the village, started a women's cooperative with a friend I knew from US, handicrafts making. They used to send some products, samples, and we would copy them. So I would source out materials from India, from Nepal. The women would reproduce them and we send them. So they send back the money and salaries. It was very well done for especially the destitute women who were widows, and also from scheduled caste women who had no other jobs back then. So it's about 45 women were employed, and was a great source of income for them. They could serve themselves and also survive their families.
mm,
That
mm.
project still going on in a much smaller scale. Had to move to Kathmandu because of the Maoist insurgency. They didn't like the American connection, um, so the center had to move to Kathmandu, and it's somebody else running it on a much smaller scale. So the women who could not leave the villages got stranded due to this, political turmoil in Nepal. So I feel still sad to them. They still keep calling me, when do you bring now? The situation is improved. The Maoists have signed the peace accord and processes like that. Yeah. So that's done. And then I was also started, immediately after coming from Tokyo, I joined this Vipassana 10-day silent retreat here, in Kathmandu. And then that was the first kind of real experience for me, what meditation means, how deep you can go, how the emotions and the outside world are deeply connected. The energy, I didn't know much energy back then, that much as I know now, but was something triggering that time. I really liked that Hindi silent retreat. So all this was happening, and I did another course in 2000. No, in 1999, and then I thought this must be a time for me to renounce the young age germ, seeded by those scents was coming up very strongly. So I made a contact, and then I had this, Vajrayana Buddhist, the Mahayana Buddhist monks, lamas, who were coming from Sikkim. They had this Sakya University in Sikkim, very affluent, very elaborate, big ones. I think it's 300-400 years old, a big university for Buddhist, Mahayana Buddhist monastics. So they said, you have to become a monastic. I said, yeah, that would be even better. So I decided to go. I had secured everything, but then they suggested I should take permission from the parents. So I asked my parents. They were so unhappy. My mother particularly was extremely unhappy, started crying. So it was not a very, perhaps not, it was not a time to go and renounce. So I quit, because the Lama also suggested that, it would be very difficult without your parents' permission, especially they are opposing, then the study would be difficult. So that's how I did not go and become a monk. But that calling was, very strong that time. And then I decided to find whether other people existed, not existed in Kathmandu. There must be other people, gay people. Started, going to the public spaces where underground gay scene was there, and met a couple of people in year 2000. Then they had no sexual health education, no condoms, no lube. So I contacted my friends in New York, suggested them that they would donate some condoms and lubricant and some information, education material on sexual health, particularly. So I started distributing it, and more people getting into, drawn to me, because I was also talking to them about all this philosophy, sexuality, different religion. What are the conditions in Europe, America, Africa, other cultures, all those things. So it was quite a big network built within 3 months, towards mid 2000. But also then people started sharing their problems, how, somebody's brother was beating badly because he was more effeminate. How somebody get excluded, expelled out from a school because he or she was effeminate or third gender or transgender. How somebody was, being extorted monthly salary by his sexual partner, who was perhaps straight or bisexual, but found him a means to his sexuality, or being feminine, means to extort. So he was paying last 15 years 15% of his salary, and he's also started abusing his wife, the extorter. That was kind of thing. And then somebody committed suicide, on the 4th month of I was networking, because he was living with his brother. But in the evening, he used to dance in a dance bar in a female attire. Those days, the female were not available into the dance bar in Nepal, being a bit different country, you know. So he was getting a job, and then his brothers with his friend went to drink beer, and then enjoying this dance bar, he saw his brother in a female attire dancing on stage. So he abused him, bashed him up badly, accused him of bringing bad names. So she committed suicide. She was a very close friend. So that's the triggering point to start doing something. And I suggested we should go to the police, and then held his brother accountable and punish him. All the other friends suggested, no, never talk to the police, otherwise they will come. There will be inquiry, we'll be outed, we'll also be arrested, kind of thing. You know what kind of situation we are in. We facing all these abuses and injustice, and we can't go to the police. This cannot go on. So that's how I suggested we must get organized if we want to change the situation. Otherwise, it will continue forever like this, and we will be oppressed and then abused. So few people agreed, and then so I registered Low Diamond Society, and another 3-4 months, quite a struggle with the bureaucracy here and the local government, where they give license to the non-governmental organization. So that's when September 2001, we got the license of Low Diamond Society to operate as an NGO. Back then, yeah. And then rest of the things is all on the internet. You find it a lot, how we struggled during the insurgency, and then the Royal Massacre happened. There were more arrests as we were organizing. The office crackdown, police crackdown was intensified. Then we joined another populist movement in 2006. 2007, I took the government to the court, won this historic case Donny mentioned in my introduction, where third gender were officially recognized as non-binary gender identity, become first country in the world, Nepal. All these things. In 2008, I got elected as the first openly gay politician in Asia from Nepal. I didn't know that, after the news reported, I thought, this history was created in 2008. Then writing a constitution, making a presence into the highest body, policy-making body in the country was something remarkable. It inspired a lot of others in the region to join the politics. That change due to this incident, me becoming a politician brought across. I see now quite successful, few getting elected in Thailand, in Taiwan, and few other countries in India. That every year people are contesting. They're not being successful, but because their electoral system is a bit different as well, and quite expensive, like the US. So that's the thing. Until 2012, early 2013, I had to go to UK because my partner was British and working with the British government, development aid project here in Nepal. He was a forester, helping community forest preservation in Nepal with the British aid program. We were together since 2002. So he developed some neurological symptoms. He could not, the doctors could not diagnose here. His office sent him to Thailand, Bangkok. In Bangkok also, nothing was diagnosed. So he was sent back to UK for proper diagnosis. And he was diagnosed as having a multi-system atrophy, which I've never heard before. They said it's more complex than muscular sclerosis kind of thing. It's complex, symptoms like Parkinson and dementia and all those things. So he quickly lost his ability even to, writing properly initially, wobbling when walking, shaking, all the things. So he had to quit, and I joined him as a carer. I looked after him as a full-time carer for 5 years. In end of October 2017, he passed away. So unfortunately, our relationship ended there. After being together for 17 years.
Mm.
So I hung around for a year or so because there's so many legal, formalities in the UK for inheritance and all those things. Then I decided to do more meditation. So I started getting into more meditation retreats in the UK and a few other places. Then I decided to move to London. So I sold my partner's apartment in Newcastle, near Newcastle, in the UK, smaller place, smaller city. Moved to London and then bought a small apartment there. Then I went to Thailand for a visit, met other monks, came back. Then I thought, oh, this is the time for me. I lost my partner. There's no much other thing I want to do. I didn't want to perhaps get back to the politics. Because perhaps that was the thing, almost living in isolation for last 7-8 years. And then after losing my partner, I was on my own, absolutely. Around. I had no social circle in the UK. So I just took a plane and then flew to Sri Lanka, where I knew a Buddhist monastery. And then I said, can you ordain me? He said, yeah, come. So I went and got ordained into the Theravada tradition. Spent there for a month in a monastery. I quite liked it, enjoyed it. I only could stay as in a tourist visa for a month. Then COVID started, making a big news. The China was every day on the news things, and then a few countries started locking down. So I quickly took flight back to UK, and also UK has all these cases coming up. So on the third day, I landed to UK in London. I was still looking for the monastery to join. The lockdown started. So I was on my own, and then, very strict rules the Theravada Buddhism had. For example, you cannot cook your food. You must receive cooked food from donation. You can't touch money. And then, but it was not possible. There's nobody could donate, and especially there's no Buddhist community in London that I was nearby. And nobody knows that I am. And then some of the neighbors I hardly knew, because I also new to this neighborhood, said, "Oh, well, what a nice dress up! What is it?" They have no idea about the Buddhist robes and things like that. And they all asked me, why you shaving your head and beard and everything and wearing these strange clothes? So I said, "Oh yeah, I'm a ordained monk." Okay, good. That's it. Nothing. So I had to go to grocery, which was forbidden. I had to carry money. I had to cook my own food. So I was already breaking the rules. But it was emergency, something like that. And I did found some Sri Lankan monasteries branch in the UK. London, they said they cannot have because strict rule. And I contacted to Birmingham in the UK. They also said, no, government cannot allow anybody to leave, anybody to join. This is a stricter rule. So I got stuck for 4 or 5 months until the lockdown. And after lockdown, I had to come back to Nepal when I was allowed to travel to see my parents, because they wanted to see me, how I look as a monk. Because I was talking for so many years to becoming a monk. And now, they wanted to see me. So I come here, and then there was a bit of excitement, a bit of sadness, and a lot of other people started knowing it. Oh, this great, gay rights activist and politician. Now he's a monastic, he's a renunciate. So very interesting conversations I had in Nepal. I couldn't stay very long at the house as a monk, so I had to find the monasteries. They're not very, judgmental in the front. But some of them kind of lightly mention, oh, okay, what should we put in a non side or the monk side? Very, was very subtle that they have some issues around. And then I see some people even questions whether gay people were should be allowed into these monastic setting. And some people started referring to some of the literature, how some of the older time monastic orders have expelled, extremely feminine men or pandakas, they said. Nobody knows what that means, whether it's an intersex person or a transgender person, third gender person, or a gay man. Perhaps was more of intersex person or third gender person. But then whether Buddha actually said or it was added to the literature later, nobody knows. Anyway, the monastery in the Sri Lanka I was ordained did not have issue. They didn't ask me, and I did brought up these issues around sexuality and LGBT rights, but I didn't say who I was. But I'm sure they have figured it out. But I didn't stay there for very long that time, and then I was had to travel back because another wave of COVID was coming after spending 3 months here doing some meditation. So I had to go back to UK, and this time I found a monastery in Birmingham who could host me. So I stayed there for another 5 months. Meditation and very small, more study. It's a small monastery, only 5 months were there. But I also started kind of, knowing how most of the monasteries based in city areas are very little interest in meditation, but more into this, priestly roles. Funerals, birthday celebration, or some families, removing bad lucks or something like that. That happens in Hinduism or Buddhism. Special days, full moons, Buddha's birthdays, and things like that. I was not very keen to engage and spend, my monastic life on those ritual roles of a monk. But very little meditation was happening. And then I had more time to do study literature. I found how patriarchic the monastic orders were, even Buddhist monastic orders, putting women down and then calling them a bit characterless, and warning the monks and other men to be aware of women who may drag you down to the hell, kind of thing. It's very similar to Hinduism and also Christianity and Islam, but also very judgmental way in negativity to the queer people. So I started finding a monastic setting, the organized religious institution that are patriarchic is hugely problematic for people like me, who are queer tribe, or people like me who are different. I also started questioning whether, all in all, 100% renunciation would really take you to the liberation. Whether it's is the rule obeying tradition only, only rule obeying takes you to the liberation. So all this renunciation and causing suffering intentionally with your physicality and deprivation of your will would lead you to liberation or not. So that was, a big dilemma for me. And I find the institution very patriarchic, problematic, very dogmatic, not willing to change, not willing to accept. Even on this modern day, really gender-wise, very hierarchical, putting man on the top. So I decided to quit after being monk 2 years and 2 months. But I continued my meditation. I did not learn much from the monastic institutions, meditation than what I already knew. So exploring, I was already quietly exploring, doing this energy thing. After my partner passed away, and I spent quite a long, more than a month-long retreat in a Vipassana meditation center, but they allowed me to practice on my own, and other than not really forcing me to follow their path. So that helped a lot, and I really thought all these, what is this that the energy that get blocked and then have all these wounds inside. As soon as we trigger with the outside world, that energy that's stuck inside gets spun further and then attract more energy and then causing more bindings and causing more sufferings, perhaps.
Yes.
So how to release that was the main focus. How to unbind those knots was the focus of my practice back then. And then the energy is translated as Shakti. Shakti is also mentioned to the goddesses here. So there must be some links. That's how I started looking at the matriarchal spiritual system. And then Nepal was very rich for that. So when after a year of, the first time and the second year, I came to Nepal during the lockdown, lifted. So I did visited a lot of goddesses' temples, and then some of the tantric practitioner here from matriarchal lineages have great insights to it, and I thought this perhaps is a better path. I don't know if it is better path for everybody, but definitely for people like me. I don't want to condone the material world. I don't think unnecessary deprivation is the right path, and I kind of very convinced that you can enjoy life and also progress spiritually. They can be compatible, not against each other. So that's the matriarchal path, basically. Yes.
Great.
And as the patriarchal ideas coming and then imposing the view of renunciation, deprivation, and also celibacy, it's a very patriarchal idea. Mostly questioning the moral conduct of women and queer people, but not of themselves. So it's a very unfair kind of rule. And the concept they have. Men can enjoy everything, but women must be polished. The queer people must be, polished and kept guarded. So I didn't like that idea, and I thought, people like us, the queer pride, queer tribe, has this middle path from matriarchal lineage. Where gender is very diverse, sexuality is accepted, and then life forces, the enjoyment can go hand in hand. So that's the path I'm into now, and with a little bit of more insights and practice, I started teaching Tantra healing meditation. I call it the energy healing meditation. So last 2.5 years. Occasionally, I organize a retreat for 5 days to learn the techniques and then give a tool for people to go and integrate into the lifestyle. I don't have Tantra center here, a retreat center. So those people who have, can afford, they book some resort in a mountainous, very beautiful region in Nepal with a good view and a quiet area. So we go there and then we enjoy the meditation and learn a great deal, looking at learning about your own energy and energetic activities and conduct and make it more balanced life. So apart from that, I'm also making films now, which I will talk about in a while. So this is so far where I am now.
Okay. Wow. Well, how wonderful. And what I'm moved by most is your response, your curiosity of your own journey to find yourself, to find answers, and to apply them to helping people who are in suffering of any kind. And that's just amazingly beautiful, and how you bring that uniquely to the queer tribe. But I hear you having done that kind of across the board too, that your big open heart of compassion. So I'm greatly appreciative. We're already kind of running over our time, so I'm going to have us just kind of abbreviate the last two little segments. But your story was so enriching. I thought, oh, I don't want to stop him.
Yeah.
So yeah. Blessings on the fact that it's a little bit longer. Everybody will love it. So, nevertheless, the queer tribe. You've talked about it a little bit. Yourself, and I love the fact that you're about to premiere your next movie, which to me is just like, wow, talking about a queer tribe and expanding our understanding and drawing both upon, matriarchal times and fast forwarding into kind of the present age. But do you want to say anything more about the queer tribe? So I'll put the two questions together. You want to say anything more about the queer tribe? Do you want to say anything about your vision for us as the queer tribe?
All right. So queer tribe, a lot of people questions whether we exist or not, and I somehow think we do. We are, and then from ancient times, the queer tribe or the people of queer clans were given special roles because we have special energies. Not the extreme masculinity or not the extreme femininity we have. So the balanced energy means we are healthier. So the healthy person can heal. So all the healers were queer tribe a long time ago. If you look at the way they dress up, they even bless and then heal.
Yeah.
It's very middle path in terms of middle energy, etc. So we do exist, and then all these other we've also been the queer tribe. Usually been the teachers, the gurus from ancient time, who were very good at learning skills and passing on the knowledges. So we still have those traditions and festivals here where I know it's taken up by the man, patriarchy, but they still have to dress up as a woman to do that, to do those performances and the rituals and festivals. So we're slowly
Great.
claiming back. So last
Great.
month we celebrated the rice planting festival first day as a festival season here, and always been man in a feminine attire. But I think originally it was the queer people who are transferring knowledge of farming and then agriculture. And then the rest of the others were done, rather they were done by regular men and women. So we have very special power, energy, skills, knowledge, and then we should keep doing those things, healing, teaching, passing on knowledge, and then making this world more balanced and more wise. And without queer tribe, it's not possible. So we have to accept that. So looking at that, I started also getting into a creative world. I made film last year, which was in San Francisco, called Blue Flower, available on YouTube. Now I making to promote this queer tribe, the matriarchal culture, the wisdom of the goddesses, the spiritual technique. This movie called Ajima means grandmother goddesses. So Ajima and six genders. There's 6 or 7 genders accepted in matriarchal time. So I'm bringing this very unique, ancient kind of wisdom, trying to revive it for the present and also for the future. So look out for Ajima and 6 genders. I hope someday soon I can come back to San Francisco and share this movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Please come back.
Thank you. Any other thing that you want to closing remarks or plug before we have one live person with us besides ourselves if he wants to ask a question, but anything else to kind of close up our time that you want to say, Sunil?
Well, this world is opening up, and then the queer tribe will have better days, so that we can heal the world better. So we need to come out, do not hide, because the patriarchy perhaps is still oppressive, but we have the role to play now to heal this world, to bring the balance. So
Yes.
yeah, come on, queer tribe, come forward.
Good, good. You are, you really are our kind of Nepalese Harvey Milk, so to speak.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
giving us the same charge. I love that. I love that so much. All right, we'll pause for a second. Andrew, did you have a comment or a question before we close our evening with Sunil?
A couple of very quick questions or comments. Just how gay are the monasteries, Sunil, and from your own experience? And also, do you have a website? And when you were studying in Minsk, Belarus, and reading all these books and discovering about yourself, was that through Russian or what? So 3 questions.
Okay. Okay. The last question. The Indian Embassy have books in English and Hindi. So I was a bit versed in Hindi language. So all this study was through Hindi language, which is very similar to Nepalese and Sanskrit. Have same alphabet, almost similar words and things like that. The second question. What was the second question? Sorry.
Just how gay are the monasteries, and do you have a website?
Okay, I have a website for the new rules I have given appointed by the Nepal Tourism Board, which is a government board that promotes tourism and to promote Nepal as a LGBT friendly or queer friendly destination. So I've been appointed as a cultural emissary for the rainbow tourism in Nepal. So I have that website called rainbowambassadors.com. So if you look at, I have some kind of promotional things where I'm promoting the Tantra Heritage Tour, Tantra hiking, Tantra trekking, some of the meditation, but also that website is primarily telling the LGBT, the queer people, come to Nepal. It's welcoming you. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
How gay the monasteries are, officially they cannot be. And then there are a few people, and I've seen a lot of queer people for not having either idea or also opportunity. That's what I said. The queer tribe should come forward and then open up the opportunity for those who wants to devote their life in a spiritual way. But because we don't have this worldwide, so a lot of gay people kind of either to escape or by interest fall into this patriarchic monastic order. So a lot of gay people are there, but they are suppressing themselves. So it's not that they they exploring or exercising freedom. But oppressing their sexuality, perhaps, and then giving up thing and falling into this idea that renunciation and deprivation takes them to the liberation. I don't know. I think that's the wrong path for me because I've gone through this, but I don't know. But what matters to me is their official stand. All patriarchal institutions, monastic institutions particularly, their official stand is anti-gay. So that's more problematic to me.
Yeah. Well, thank the gods, goddesses, and all that is for you and for your message and your call, and you're welcome. And I'd love for us to come visit you someday there, but hopefully once your new film is out, we'll get to see you again in San Francisco. So with that, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Yes.
For sharing, and we'll put this out, and we look forward to more with you in the future.
Yes. Thank you
Me
so
too.
much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Namaste.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.